Dallas is nicknamed Jerry World, but is it Jerry's world and we're all just living in it? The Cowboys owner would like you to think so. Hey, welcome to SI Now. Maggie and Robin hanging out with you today. And Jerry Jones has retained Harvey Weinstein's lawyer and is threatening to sue the league over Roger Goodell's contract. Let that sentence sink in. This is like a plot to a bad horror movie. Robin, Jerry is right where he wants to be. He is the center of attention. We've seen this all season long when he sort of knelt and then stood in the sort of pseudo-solidarity with some of the players. He then threatened to bench any player that would go on to kneel on his watch. Then he backed Papa John's, he's an investor in that company, in this pizza war with the league. And now this. What do you think is the end game for Jerry Jones?
Well, clearly it's power and control over this situation. And Jerry Jones has made his voice heard. You just listed off a litany of things he's been involved with in just the last several weeks. But what this stands out to me as is another self-inflicted wound for the NFL. They can't seem to get out of their own way. As much as they're talking about the players, alienating the fans, when's the last time we were talking about these stories in relation to the players? It's been McNair, it's been Jerry Jones, it's been Papa John's, it's been Roger Goodell, and now here we are again. You have Colin Kaepernick with a case against the NFL and perhaps an owner with a case against the NFL. It's just been a bad season on almost every front from a PR standpoint for them.
Yeah, I think this is obviously about power, gaining even more power, because we know that Jerry Jones already has a lot of power. But I think what Jerry is trying to do here is maybe set something up for the next collective bargaining agreements. We're not sure if maybe Goodell, in listening to the players who came to the Park Avenue office and were explaining yet again sort of what they would like to see from the league in terms of helping with social justice issues, that maybe Jones believes that Goodell is going to end up giving a little too much to the players. And I think that he's afraid that Goodell is not going to be constantly keeping what he believes is the owner's best interest first and foremost on the top of his mind. So he wants to put incentives into Goodell's contract. So if you can't navigate this new media landscape, if you can't navigate this new social justice landscape, if you can't figure out maybe some long-term impacts of CTE and what that could have on the league, well, then you are no longer going to get the $40 million that we are putting in your contract. We're going to make you earn it. And if you can't figure it out, maybe there's someone out there who can.
Look, I'm not here to defend the job Roger Goodell has done or advocate for him to get paid regardless of incentives. The timing is curious, though, not only because of what we've heard Jerry Jones complain about, but also with the NFL trying to suspend one of his players in another one of those ongoing sagas throughout this year. That, to me, is curious, and the whole ordeal from going to, Roger Goodell's going to get this extension, to now doesn't seem to add up.
Yeah, clearly Ezekiel Elliott having an impact, in his case having an impact. Maybe Roger Goodell sort of likes this chaos. Maybe he feels like this is a place where he can gain some control. Let's welcome in our legal analyst, Michael McCann, who can help us navigate these waters. Michael, what's the basis of a potential lawsuit that Jerry Jones could bring against the league? Does he have a case?
Well, Maggie, I think it would be a difficult case. He'd have to show some kind of breach of contract, that perhaps the league failed to uphold its own constitution. Under Article 8 of the Constitution, the commissioner has to show requisite integrity. I guess that could be construed to say that with Ezekiel Elliott, Goodell didn't perhaps meet that test, but it's a loose argument. There are also implicit duties of good faith. There are fiduciary duties that could be construed in this situation. There's also the potential antitrust case. Jones could say that the other owners and Goodell have conspired in an anti-competitive way to hurt the Cowboys. These are all very speculative claims that in the past haven't had a lot of traction. And that's true when, for instance, Donald Sterling tried them a few years back. So it would be a difficult case, but I think, as you and Robin have noted, the goal of such a lawsuit may not be to win. It may have other purposes.
How much support does Goodell need from the owners? I mean, and is it possible that Jerry Jones can put together some kind of coalition, of owners to oust Goodell?
Yeah, that could happen, although I don't think the vehicle would be the lawsuit. That would be perhaps a vote of no confidence, which is a procedural step that owners have in any professional sports league. It's an informal step. It was used in baseball with Fay Vincent, where owners say, let's send a message to the commissioner saying most of us don't want him or her in that position. So that person ought to resign because they're no longer a credible leader. It usually has that effect. Although I don't think there's any evidence yet to suggest that Jones would be able to corral the necessary votes to send that message.
Michael McCann's our legal analyst. Michael, we talk to you every day, I feel like. It's one thing after another. Thank you so much, though, for weighing in on this topic as well.
Thank you.
Meanwhile, Kyrie Irving and the Celtics beat the Lakers last night. They've now won 10 straight games. Kyrie made some moves that could cause incomprehensible utterances like, ooh, but that doesn't surprise me. Everyone knew he had a filthy handle. His scoring has actually been down, though. He's averaging 3 points fewer than a year ago, shooting a career low from 3, and his second worst percentage from the field. What has stood out is other aspects of his game, making simple passes and plays and playing defense. Maggie, what's the takeaway from Kyrie's play?
I think the takeaway is exactly what he said when he left Cleveland, which is he wanted to find another gear as a basketball player. He wanted to evolve as a basketball player by getting away from LeBron James, and I think we're seeing some of this evolution right in front of us. I mean, when you are playing with LeBron James, the offense is always going to be geared towards him no matter how many shots you take, and Kyrie took a lot of shots. And while LeBron can make you a more successful basketball player, I don't know if he necessarily makes his role players better skilled basketball players, if you get what my drift. You'll go to the finals, you'll go to the conference finals, but are you evolving personally as a basketball player when LeBron James is on the floor? Probably not, or at least Kyrie Irving doesn't believe that he will. And when he said this in his introductory press conference in Boston, I went back to it. He said he wants to be in an environment that's conducive to my potential, be happy with a group of individuals that I can grow with. I think he's seeing that right now with the Celtics. You can grow alongside LeBron James, but I don't know if you ever grow with LeBron James.
Well, there's a lot of factors at play. One of them is LeBron isn't always the easiest guy to play with. He elevates the team as a whole. He doesn't necessarily elevate each individual. You have to learn to do that. Chris Bosh learned to play off of LeBron without the touches. You have to get good at catch and shoots and all those sorts of things. And when he was in Cleveland, it was a lot of your turn, my turn between isolation plays with LeBron and Kyrie. Then there's Brad Stevens in Boston, who may be the heir apparent to Greg Popovich as the coach that we all talk about and credit, and the roster. The Celtics, top to bottom, have a better roster. I mean, Horford and Smart and Tatum and Brown and Rozier and Baines, all of those guys can play. So it's easier to make some of the plays Kyrie is making when you trust your teammates and when your teammates are moving without the basketball.
Yeah, which is even more credit to them because Gordon Hayward's gone for the season.
Meanwhile, Lonzo Ball continues to struggle from the field. He's shooting just 34% in the paint. That's the worst in the NBA. And 25% outside of it. That's the second worst in the NBA. He says the struggles are all in his head. How concerning is this for Lonzo and the Lakers?
This is not concerning to me because I had no expectation for Lonzo and the Lakers this year. And I think for anyone who did, I think you were misguided. This is a team that won 26 games last year. This is a team where if you look at the top 4 performers in terms of minutes played, they have either 4 years of experience or fewer. 2 of them are rookies, including Lonzo and then Kyle Kuzma also. I don't think that Lonzo was expected to have this breakout season. The comparisons to Jason Kidd, way too early. And you can blame LeVar, you can blame, LA. We're all very interested in that franchise and when it's going to rebound and turn around. But unless they're getting big free agents or big names like Paul George and LeBron James and Anthony Davis, this team is 2 years away from being 2 years away. And I don't know why everyone else can't see that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little overblown, I guess, because Lonzo's done some other things well. He clearly has a good feel for the game, but I do think it's concerning. His jump shot looks broken, and eventually...
Jump shot always look funky.
Exactly, and eventually you have to put the ball in the basket. I mean, you can't be a self-check no matter what you're doing in the other aspects of the game, because basketball's not all about scoring, it's not all about shooting. You can play well without shooting well, but at these percentages, eventually you become unplayable. So Lonzo Ball is going to have to finish at a higher clip, and he's going to have to do something about that outside shot as he goes forward. We're not at the point where we're saying he's a bust and all that, but we are at the point where it's noticeable. We're getting to a pattern here where he hasn't proven that he can finish at the NBA level.
I just don't think that making the playoffs was never even an expectation for Magic Johnson and for anyone in that organization. I think that they want to let Lonzo sort of make the mistakes, let that entire group get to know each other. They have the coach in Luke Walton. He's not going anywhere. He's not on the hot seat. So I think they're willing to ride a bad season because the future is bright.
It's not about the urgency, but more the overall evaluation. Is this something that continues? Speaking of the Lakers, Derek Fisher had a nice career with them. He also coached one of the league's brightest young stars in Kristaps Porzingis. Not coincidentally, the Knicks lost to the Magic last night with Porzingis sitting out with some minor ailments. I talked to D. Fish about just how good he thinks KP can be. Joined now by former NBA player and coach, five-time champion Derek Fisher, who comes to us courtesy of Toyota. Let's go places. Now, Derek, you were Kristaps Porzingis' first NBA coach. I know you knew he was good. Did you know he was this good?
Yes. I think we all knew that he would be this good. Maybe not as soon, but we knew he had a chance to be really special. Really because of his mindset. I think there are a lot of really young and talented players in this league, but Kristaps was a professional right away. He understood how to be focused and locked in and disciplined about his work, and had a tremendous work ethic. And so I'm happy for him, and I'm happy for the Knicks and the city.
You played with some NBA legends, most notably Shaq and Kobe, also Durant, Westbrook, and Harden. Is KP that level of player?
I think he has the opportunity to be as good as those guys because of his versatility and the way the game is played now. You know, I don't think you can compare guys to Shaquille and a lot of the greats from 10, 15, now 20 years ago to that degree. But when you think about where the NBA is now and where it will go over the next 5, 10, or 15 years, assuming Kristaps stays healthy. And can continue to grow and evolve, I think that he has a chance to be one of the best to play in recent years in this era.
Now, we know Shaq would basically put people inside the basket, but you mentioned Porzingis can stretch the floor. Could Shaq guard Porzingis?
I don't know. It would be tough. I do think that Shaq was obviously one of the most athletic and mobile bigs to ever play the game. So I think that physically he would be capable of guarding Kristaps, but Chris can shoot from 30 feet. He can put the ball on the floor. He can drive. He can go finish. I think Shaq may have fouled out probably trying to guard him, but I know that Shaq can defend when he wants to. I do know that.
All right. Now, we talked about your relationship with Porzingis there, but you coached when he and Melo were both on the team, obviously. What was the relationship actually like between those guys, Melo and KP?
I thought overall it was great. I thought that Melo did the best job that he could in trying to help a young star. I think like we talked about right away, we all knew Kristaps would be really, really good. It just was a matter of how soon and in what way. And so I thought that Melo was very open to allowing Chris to grow into that stardom. But obviously, as the alpha male on the team at that time, he also wanted to make sure that, he still had space to do him and be him. And so I thought their relationship was solid. I think they'll always have a strong, solid relationship.
Now, the Knicks are playing well. The Thunder are struggling. Is that in any way a knock on Melo?
No, I mean, I think, in sports, for whatever reason, we give one person too much credit when it goes well, and we give one person too much blame when it doesn't go well. And so I don't think it's a knock on any one player. When you're trying to put a team together, Billy Donovan is still learning his way as an NBA coach and figuring out how to get the best out of his players. I think he's done a really good job of maximizing, what they do have during his time in Oklahoma City. So, I think like everyone else is saying, at least in terms of NBA pundits, experts, et cetera, they will need time to figure it out in a sense. And I don't think it's a knock on Melo. I just think that they're learning how to become the best versions of themselves. And I think in New York, it was, obviously about much more than Carmelo in terms of what was going on there.
Was there that extra pressure of the triangle before that may be a relief not having to implement it now?
Yeah, and I don't think anybody has to apologize for saying that. I think that was clear, and you can see it in the team's efforts. The energy in the Garden, which was always there from the fans, but the energy in the Garden from the Knicks players. So I think that everybody is kind of free to just focus on being themselves and not having that pressure. And again, that's not a knock on any one person. That's not even a knock on Phil. That is what happens when there's lack of clarity within any organization. So to me, things appear to be more clear in New York, and that's why it looks better on the court.
Here's a fun one for you. Who wins, the 2001 Lakers or the current Golden State Warriors?
That's a good question. No, I think the 2001 Lakers definitely, we could hold our own against these current Warriors. They are fantastic to watch, the way they play the game, the way they share the basketball. But Shaq was the ultimate advantage, and you got a team with Shaq in the middle. You pretty much could have a chance against anybody. And then there was another guy, if you ever heard of him, his name is Kobe Bryant. He was out there as well. And the rest of us just kind of filled the gaps. So, I mean, really, you could probably just put Kobe and Shaq out there against those guys, and they probably would have a chance. But, these Warriors are even though people think they're off to a slow start, I think they're still going to be the team to beat at the end of the day.
Well, here's another one. Ready? Here comes the ultimate sports media, sports talk question. They've now played the exact number of games. Who you got, LeBron or Jordan?
Oh, I saw something about that recently, and I was like, what's all of this LeBron Jordan stuff? No, I think that, my opinion is you can't judge a book until you read the whole book, right? And so I think that Michael's book is complete, and there's a reason why we always compare people to him, because his book is complete, and people feel strongly that there's no other book from start to finish that is as great as Michael Jordan's book. LeBron's book is still being written. So I personally don't think that, even though they played the same amount of games, and there are too many variables to compare them and try to say one is greater than the other. Now, I'm saying all that to say, when LeBron's book is ultimately finished, it is going to be a very strong debate, because statistically, where he is going, and the way he has his team in the finals every season, and he's going to get more opportunities to win championships in the future, I think it's going to be a worthy discussion. And I've always been a Michael Jordan fan, but the more I watch LeBron year after year, I am becoming more and more of a fan, and I understand why people make the comparison.
Now, the latest chapter in the Derek Fisher book may be about Dancing with the Stars. You said you were forever changed by your experience on Dancing with the Stars. What did you mean by that?
For a long time, man, I was, very conservative, shy, reserved. A big part of having the experience on the show is you have to disconnect from what other people are going to think about the crazy wardrobe you have on, or the dance you have to do, or what the judges say, or whether people are voting for you or laughing at you or whatever. You really have to disconnect from that. And just for that 50 seconds or that 1 minute, or all of the press and promo stuff that you do, just enjoy it and enjoy your life in a way that is completely ignoring what other people think about it. And that was motivating and inspiring for me, and I'm glad that I did it.
I really appreciate you sharing your time with us today. Thank you.
Thanks, Robin.
We're talking recruiting today. The Georgia Bulldogs are the topic, and Amy Campbell is here. Amy, we know Georgia has always recruited well, but this year Kirby Smart and his staff especially successful?
Well, they've got the number 5 class, 2 5-stars in this class, both guys number 1 at their position, some studs for the Bulldogs in 2018.
2 guys number 1 at their position. Who should we start with?
Well, we'll start with Justin Fields. The rich get richer when it comes to quarterback depth. Getting Justin Fields was a massive recruiting victory for Kirby Smart. He decommitted from Penn State earlier in the year and naturally had everyone in the country after him. A dual threat QB and a dual sport athlete. He also plays baseball, which I love to see for quarterback prospects coming out of high school. And there's really no overstating how big his commitment is for the Bulldogs, except maybe that, they're not hurting for a quarterback right
What's going to happen? Because you have Fromm, the freshman who's taken over. Does that mean Jacob Eason is likely transferring?
I have not heard much about what Eason might be thinking, but in my mind, I don't know why he wouldn't transfer. Fromm's already taken his job, and he's probably not going to get it back. Really good quarterback. I don't know why he wouldn't go somewhere else.
Okay, what about the running back position where Georgia also has the number 1 recruit in the country?
Right, since, they've got the number 1 running back in the class in 5-stars Zamir White. White's an absolute beast. There's really no other way to put it. In the regular season, he rushed for an insane 1,935 yards, 31 touchdowns, and he's at over 7,000 yards in his career. He does everything well. He's a perfect combination of speed and power with great instincts, and he will be an absolute star at Georgia. And Maggie, it's not just White in this class. They've also got the number 3 running back in James Cook, brother of Dalvin Cook, Vikings rookie, FSU alum. Got him away from the Noles. He was committed to the Seminoles, and now he's going to play for the Bulldogs.
Okay, let's talk about targets. Who else does Georgia want to sign in the 2018 class?
Well, this is Georgia, so they are after some big dogs. No pun intended on that. If you've been following recruiting at all, you're very familiar with this guy, Jamari Sawyer, the 5-star offensive lineman out of Atlanta. He's one of those guys who can name his school, and it's looking like a Georgia, Clemson, Ohio State battle. And Sawyer has unofficially visited Georgia 3 times this season. That means it's on his own dime. Granted, getting to Athens isn't that hard for him. Still, he'll take his visit and will be at Clemson in a couple weeks before a December 15th decision. And the Dogs are also after a 5-star cornerback in Tyson Campbell out of American Heritage in South Florida. Now, that's the same high school as Georgia running back Sony Michel and former wide receiver Isaiah McKenzie, who's now with the Denver Broncos. It was Mark Richt who got those guys to Georgia, and naturally, Miami is all over Campbell. Not to mention former American Heritage coach Mike Rumpf coaches cornerbacks at the U currently. Alabama also went to watch with Campbell because the Tide love those 5-star DBs. Georgia has some tough competition, but they're in it, and he will likely take this decision all the way down to signing day.
Let's talk about Kirby Smart. How has he been able to get some of this great talent?
Well, he's been putting a fence around Georgia is kind of the term. Guys that he would have gotten to Alabama before, now he's keeping those guys home. 10 in this class are from Georgia. Last year, 17 out of 26 signees, the top guys in Georgia, including Jake Fromm, who he got to flip from Alabama, so he's able to keep those top guys home. But what I think is interesting, we talk about Georgia's got the top 5 class. They've got these amazing players. Recruiting has never, ever been Georgia's problem, Maggie. I looked at the recruiting rankings. They go back to 2000. 3 times ever has Georgia been out of the top 10. So recruiting has never been Georgia's problem. They consistently put players in the NFL. There you see the previous classes. Excellent rankings. The problem has been that they haven't won a national championship. Mark Richt was winning. He won 2 SEC titles. He won 5 SEC East titles. So we're going to see if Kirby Smart can get over that hump. And they're hot this year. They're on a collision course with Alabama for that SEC title, and that should be a pretty good one. So again, recruiting has never been the problem at Georgia. It's getting over the hump to win a national title.
Yeah, last year, the Liberty Bowl, something tells me they're going to have a bowl upgrade this time around. Yeah. Amy, thanks a lot.
Thanks, Maggie.
Four-time Pro Bowler Antonio Cromartie, his beautiful wife, Terricka Cromartie, the new stars of the show, they're Cromarties. It's on the USA Network starting on Thursday at 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Congratulations on the show, sort of reality TV show for you guys with your beautiful children. We thought we'd play a little game here. ask you some yes or no questions, and we'll just see how aligned you guys are as you're raising all these beautiful children.
We're trying to set you up.
Yeah, it's a
Little
straight
version
setup.
of not exactly the newlywed game. When you've been
cheat.
together 9 years, you can't play the newlywed game anymore. So we're going to jump right to it. Here's the first scenario for you. Your child is playing Little League, Pop Warner, youth sports, and keeps getting benched in favor of the coach's son or daughter. Do you confront the coach, yes or no?
Yeah, so.
Let's see.
Ready?
Yeah, let's see.
Okay, go.
On the same page. You confront them together.
Right? Cromartie is presenting United Front. I'd actually be probably a little bit nervous about that.
Do participation trophies get displayed on the mantle? Yes or no? You ready a whole explanation over there? What's going on? Maybe. All right.
Here's one. You find your daughter has a boyfriend. Do you read her text messages on the sly?
Oh, you better lock that phone.
Definitely.
Can't have a phone if it's locked.
All right, how about this one? The boyfriend comes over to your house for the first time.
Oh no, he's a real thing now.
Yeah. Do you try and intimidate him? Okay. So you already know everything about him. You've read the text messages.
Me,
Oh no.
Definitely.
What age will you have the talk about the birds and the bees? 6 and
Oh.
10. Uh-oh.
All right, the child turns 16. Do you buy him or her a car? Yes or no? Right away.
Nice.
All right.
You guys are great parents. Way to hook your kids up. Okay, how about this one? Now we're fast forwarding to prom, senior prom. What's the appropriate amount of money to spend on a prom? Whoa!
Wow. She's going to daddy for that one.
She's going to the prom in Gucci.
From the asking out to the prom, and that's money you gotta add into it.
Your sons say they want to play football. Do you let them?
Yes. Did you guys have to talk about this, or it's always been unspoken?
Well, we always figure like if our kids want whatever they want to do, like we'll support them.
Will you have another child? Yes or no?
Are you sure?
Antonio, can you really be sure though?
We praying on it.
Okay, so tell the story because this is kind of a rumor. Have you really had 3 children since a vasectomy? Is that
Yes.
true?
100%.
5 years. Well, most people think that he just had a vasectomy and then he didn't get checked, but it was actually almost 5 years after he had a vasectomy that we were pregnant with the twins.
Now, how does that work? Did it not go through as prepared, or you're just that potent?
I guess they say man plans and God laughs. I mean, I don't really know how to explain it.
It's not uncommon. It happens. It just for me, it's just different because of who I am and what I do. So. That's what makes it a lot bigger than what it really is.
Thank you so much. Of course, the Cromartie's USA Network, 10:30 p.m. Eastern on Thursday. Terricka and Antonio, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's really fun.